Here we have the clip of Achane hurting his leg here. You could see kind of getting tangled up a little bit and twisted directly on that hand, and bam. Buffalo Bills versus Miami Dolphins this Thursday night. Let's take a look at the injury report, a game preview, a matchup breakdown. Let's get into this video, and you can see the Bills versus Dolphins. The first things first is that the Miami Dolphins are going to potentially have multiple running backs out. Raheem, Mostert, and Achane. I think this is huge for the Buffalo Bills. But we all know the Buffalo Bills sustained their own injuries between Josh Allen and Taron Johnson. And we have the highlights here to just see ultimately what unfolded. But of course, Josh Allen injuring his hand after landing on it, after hurdling Buda Baker for the touchdown. But you could see in this clip right here that Josh Allen ends up really hurting himself and landing directly on that hand. I'm going to try to get the freeze frame here, but he comes down right there on his hand. Thank God it was his left hand. Like Josh Allen said, it's a long way from his right hand. Absolutely huge. And here we have Taron Johnson, which is being said to be a forearm injury after attempting a tackle against the Arizona Cardinals week 1. Here we also have the clip. You can see how Taron Johnson actually injured his arm going in there, kind of staying down on the field. You could see him in the corner, but really Taron Johnson coming in on the tackle and bam, coming in, and something unfolded here. It could have been him going to the ground or initially making contact. That seems like a very sound tackle there from Taron Johnson, but clearly injuring his forearm. Here's a different angle of it. See Taron Johnson coming into the play, and bam. So it's tough to see what happens there. Kind of just gets caught maybe on his leg, stays down, did not return to the game. Now Dawon Smoot, also Buffalo Bills defensive end. High hopes for him. He's big, physical defensive end for the Bills. He has injured his toe. He missed the season opener after injuring his toe in a practice September 5th. Head coach said that Smoot is likely out versus the Miami Dolphins, and I know this is a short week. We're going to be discussing how that impacts this upcoming game. But Ty Johnson dealing with a knee. Ty Johnson went into the blue medical tent with a knee injury on Sunday, but he ended up returning to the game. And if you watch my previous videos, we saw a couple plays from Ray Davis, who I think did an extremely great job, not only running it, but catching it. He was limited in practice on Monday and Tuesday, so Ty Johnson is officially questionable versus the Miami Dolphins. Javon Solomon, I think we're expecting some big things from him. He was a limited participant estimate Monday and Tuesday, so he's questionable officially for this game. He also missed week 1, was not able to play. Now, Miami Dolphins have had a bunch of injuries themselves, and similar to Von Miller last year, who had to come back from an ACL, they have Jalen Phillips, who's recovering from his Achilles injury. So he did actually play week 1, and he did record a sack after tearing his Achilles in last November, but he was cleared to play. He's a great player. Phillips played 33 of 50 defensive snaps versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jalen Ramsey was questionable, and he actually played, but he was dealing with a hamstring injury in week 1. He played through it in week 1. Now, Devon Achane, running back, ankle, was non-participant in practice on Monday and Tuesday. Here we have the clip of Achane hurting his leg here. You could see kind of getting tangled up a little bit and twisted. So obviously something happened here. He came down awkwardly on his leg, and it looks like he's probably going to miss the game. Raheem Mostert with a chest injury was also a non-participant in practice. So this is just huge. Malik Washington, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, dealing with quadriceps. So I know this is very big. Raheem Mostert and Achane could be out for the Miami Dolphins, but they still do have a speedy running back in Jeff Wilson. Also, Jalen Wright. Both these guys are very fast, dynamic running backs. Of course, not a Raheem Mostert or Achane, but we still need to pay attention to Jeff Wilson. I mean, they still have Tyreek Hill. They still have Jalen Waddle. I mean, the speed and threat that this team has, it really is going to open up things for the run. Now, it is a short week, and I think one thing that helps us is going against Kyler Murray last week, who is also a shorter quarterback. You know, I think Kyler Murray actually presents more of a problem because of his ability to escape the pocket, willingness to escape the pocket. Tua, to me, is primarily a pocket passer. He doesn't want to run with it. He just wants to be a timing and rhythm thrower and get the ball out quick. So I think the Buffalo Bills, knowing they're both smaller quarterbacks, I think you could defeat quarterbacks in similar ways, being that they're kind of similar in their playing style. So being it's a short week, the Bills had to prepare for Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, and there's going to be some crossover that they can implement on Tua. And I really think that's going to help the Buffalo Bills this upcoming week. And plus the overall familiarity that we have with one another, with the matchups, how to beat one another. I think the Bills have been dominating the Miami Dolphins. So we know what's up. We know what to do to take care of business against them. How can we forget our guys here, Jordan Poyer, Siran Neal on the Miami Dolphins? Familiarity with both of them. Even Dan Orlovsky on One Bills Live spoke about how the Jacksonville Jaguars were able to really run the ball down the Miami Dolphins' throats. And we see that especially early with a brand new defensive coordinator here in Miami. You know, there hasn't been like a scheme in place. Like there's going to be a lot of miscommunication. There's going to be alignments that aren't set. And I think the Bills have been working on our running attack with James Cook and Aaron Cromer and this offensive line that were all here last year working together. We're definitely a lot further ahead. Our offensive line is a lot further ahead than what the Miami Dolphins' overall defense and defensive line is at right now at this point in the season. And I think if the Jacksonville Jaguars were able to run it down their throats, I really believe the Buffalo Bills should be able to run it down their throats a lot more so than even the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen running the football, but you could see the Bills are at the top of the league last year in running the football with 2,212 yards, whereas the Jacksonville Jaguars, although could have made some improvements this offseason, 1,646 yards. The Bills are going to be improved from last year, and I think the Buffalo Bills will have a much easier time running the football against the Miami Dolphins Thursday night. Now, I know there's some other things. People are concerned about the weather and that it's going to be extremely hot. Now, one benefit for us here is that it is at night and the temperature should start to cool down. I really think the Buffalo Bills having this defensive line with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau coming away with 3 sacks last week. Attention is definitely going to be spread thin on this defensive line. If you want to pay attention to Von Miller, if you want to pay attention to Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, whoever that is, you're going to allow one-on-one matchups to these other players. And we all know Tua wants to get the ball out quick. Sean McDermott, Bobby Babich, we have proven that we know how to time this offense and slow them down dramatically. And you couple that with Raheem Mostert and Achane not being available for the Miami Dolphins in this matchup, I think that's definitely a big time advantage for the Buffalo Bills. And I think Josh Allen knows this early in the season, putting more on his shoulders, on his plate with all these new weapons, such as Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, a lot of new faces, even Mac Hollins, MVS. Not a lot of familiarity at the wide receiver spot, not a lot of time to develop that continuity and game experience and reps. So I think Josh Allen understands that he needs to put more on his plate, and that's why we saw him running with it against the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm anticipating him to likely do the same, especially if we get down in the game like we were. Josh Allen, his willingness to put this on his back to get the W. Every single win is so important in the NFL. I really believe the Buffalo Bills are going to go down to Miami and squish that fish. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Hit like, subscribe for future content. Check the link in the description for the BNC chicken wing merch. We have sizes small through 5XL, free shipping, black, blue, red, gray. Awesome quality shirts. Also, Course Careers and SeatGeek. If you guys are looking to go to the game, a secret hack would be to go to SeatGeek.com right before that morning of the game. Use promo code BNC to get $20 off your purchase. And a lot of the tickets get discounted that morning or even like an hour before the game. So check that out. Appreciate you. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.